Hello viewers, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll learn about UW rules. So how to create UW rule from the administration screen and what actually is the use of UW rule in the real time. So for this, I am logging in localhost with SU and GW. To create or to see any existing UW rules, right? We need to go administration screen, business settings, business rules, underwriting rules. So what is the use of underwriting rule in real life? So let me ask same question to AI. Let's see what it will tell. For this, this browser is Comet browser. This will come inbuilt with AI. If we can see assistant over here, if we click on assistant, right? Assistant will come and we can ask the question to AI assistant. Let me ask question to AI here. What is the use of rule in insurance policy? Yeah. So see to see, the use of UW rule is we need underwriter will assess the risk. Underwriting rule in insurance policy management is set predefined conditions and criteria used to evaluate and decide whether to accept, modify, or reject an insurance application of a policy. Here is how they are used. So basically, UW rule is the one which is going to stop either quote or bind. In that case, an underwriter comes to the picture. They are going to evaluate whether our policy is eligible for official binding or not. If not, they are going to reject it. The same here also it is telling. Basically, it's a set of predefined conditions and the criteria used to evaluate and decide whether to accept, modify, or reject any application. We will do risk assessment, automation, pricing accuracy, regularity compliance, efficiency, and consistency. Example, if a rule states don't issue policies to applications with medical history of diabetes unless premium is loaded by 20%. So for this is example for health insurance. If any applicant medical history has diabetes, then they are increasing the premium by 20% higher. The same in Guidewire Policy Center, underwriting rules are configurable and playable a critical role in enforcing an insurance company's risk management strategy within policy administration process. That's why all UW rules we are creating from the administration only. So to create a new UW, right, we need to click on add button. So basically we got now, okay, what is the UW rule? What is the use to stop our policy from issuance or else from quoting? For this, we will trigger an UW rule based on the underwriter response, whether we are going to accept or reject it. That is depends on complete insurance company. So let's create an UW rule. So we can see name, code, checking set, blocking point. So we are in the new page now. We can ask AI, just summarize this page. So this spelling is incorrect. So changing it and sending to AI. See, it is telling what is the current web page. It is a UW rule creation and editing interface in the Guidewire Policy Center. Name, code, activation state, applicable environment, everything over here. So yeah, now we no need of this. So let me close AI Assistant. Here we will provide a name, code, checking set, blocking point, default duration, whether it is enabled or not, which policy line this UW rule is applicable, jurisdiction, policy transaction, and what is the context. If we select respective policy line, right, then context will keep on changing and what is the condition and then what is the issue key. We will learn one by one everything. Coming to them, let's suppose what I can go. I'll go with the test UW rule because we are going to create just with the testing. So once we get code, right, don't once we enter name, don't keep as it is a code. Do not provide spaces in the code section. Instead of that, just follow underscore test underscore UW underscore rule. RULE. Yeah. And then checking set. Checking set is the point where your UW rule is going to evaluate whether it's pre-court. We have multiple things. Basically, we will utilize pre-bind, pre-issuance, pre-court, pre-court release. These things only. We will not use most of the other things. So where to evaluate your UW rule, and blocking point is the point where actual your UW rule is going to block underwriters. So few UW rules are non-blocking, few are blocking. So we can go any of the things. See, in case of rejected, your policy will be rejected. So this is the blocking point. Most of the interview common question, what is the difference between checking set and blocking point? Checking set is the point where your UW rule is going to evaluate. Blocking point is the point where actually your UW rule will block from the actual point. Let's suppose if we select pre-quote and blocking point is blocks issuance, as soon as we quote the policy, so pre-quote, when if we remember in the submission flow, right, we explained where actual validations will happen, UW rules will happen, then followed by rating, forms, reinsurance. So before rating, we will evaluate all UW rules wherever checking set is pre-quote. But if the blocking point is blocks issuance, then your UW rule will not block until it is issuance. In case of blocks quote, so as soon as we click on quote, your quote will not go to rating engine. Instead of that, this will block. That is the main difference. Checking set, it is going to evaluate. Blocking point where actually it will be blocked. We can ask the same question to AI as well. Let me ask, what is the difference between checking set and blocking point in this page? Specify when the underwriting rule is evaluated during policy life cycle. So when to evaluate your UW rule, example, whether it's a pre-quote, pre-bind, renewal, etc. So this logic, the trigger logic will execute that particular point. Blocking point affects our policy. In case of non-blocking, it will allow. But still we can see over there. Setting blocking point enforces a stop required review at the stage. So checking set is the timing, blocking point is the impact. So that's where it will. So now we can have a question. Can we have a blocking point as pre-issuance and checking set as a blocks code? It is invalid because checking set we are evaluating UW rule at pre-issuance, but we are blocking at blocks code. So this is invalid scenario itself. If I click on save, oh, okay, this is allowing, but it has some validation errors. Basically, it will not allow it. Let's do something. Let me change it to pre-quote and blocks issuance. Which line? I'll go with the personal auto line as of now. And jurisdiction. If we have any specific jurisdiction thing, right, we can have it the same. And then policy transaction, which transaction this rule should be evaluated, all transactions. If we keep default duration as rescinded, right, accept once we approve our UW rule, that will never trigger in future. If we change it to next if we change this default duration to next change, then this UW rule will keep on triggering for each policy changes. Then end of term, this will trigger first policy term, then next term, then followed by next terms. 1 year, this will trigger once in a year. In case of 6 months policy, even though next term will fall after 6 months, it will not trigger because it has not completed 1 year duration. It will trigger after 1 year. Same goes 3 years. Rescinded means it will not trigger once we approve it in one transaction. Then context, personal auto, each driver and each vehicle. So if we select it as a personal auto policy, right, it will trigger on the whole policy only once. If we add it for each driver, then it will trigger for each driver. If we select it as a for each vehicle, then this UW rule will trigger for each vehicle. So I am selecting as a personal auto policy, and then issue key. Issue key is the one which will distinguish between different UW rules. So we need to make sure this issue key should be unique across all our UW rules. If we provide a duplicate one, right, when we code the policy, that will throw an error. So it will throw error by saying issue key is duplicate issue key exists, like that errors we will get when we code the policy. It will not throw error as soon as we click on update. So I am selecting with personal auto policy. So auto policy fixed id is the unique one. We can go with a line dot fixed id. If I go with each vehicle, right, in that case my UW rule should trigger for each vehicle. But if I am taking line dot fixed id as a issue key, right, that will trigger only once per policy. It will not trigger for each vehicle because issue key is already triggered for one of vehicle. So if we are selecting for each vehicle or each driver, then go with respective driver dot fixed id, vehicle dot fixed id. So here if I am going with the auto policy, I can go with line dot. Mhm. Okay, we have policy personal auto line, personal auto line dot fixed id. Let me change it to formula. It's not coming. Yeah. When it comes to the formula, we need to add star dollar followed by this one so that it will give suggestions. Still not giving fixed ID. Yes. And convert it to toString. Yes. Perfect. Could not resolve for dollar symbol. It should come. May change. Yeah. Now it worked. Not sure. Basically, it should work for formula only. And then here I'll give it as a test UW rule. Then same I'll keep in below as well. Yeah, now click on update. Must have, yeah, we need to have a condition. Now also we have not provided condition. When to trigger. What I will do for this? What we can do? Let's see personal auto line dot vehicles. Yes. What I can keep dot has match. I think has match is not coming. So instead of that, basically we can write a function in the auto line enhancement and we can call over here. But instead of that, what I will do, let me check, is there anything which we can see? Yes, let's go with the vehicles. Yeah, that has elements. Yes, yeah, if it has elements, then it should be true. Yes, if we have vehicles, then trigger it and click on update. Yeah, we can see we created UW rule with the name, code, checking set, blocking point, default duration applies to what is the context, and if we have elements, just trigger it with this issue key. And in the advanced tab, we can see whether auto approvable yes or no and default edit before default approval value comparator. This value comparator and auto approvable will be utilized in grants authorities, so that we will discuss in the coming videos. So this is the way of creating an UW rule from the administration screen. In the next video, we will see whether this UW rule is triggering to our policy or not. And then we will keep on changing our checking set, blocking points, and issue keys and see how it is working in our policy. Yes. So this is the way of creating an UW rule. Next video we will see the practical reality how to utilize this UW rule in our policies. Yeah. Thank you for watching, guys. Let's meet in the next video.